I always have fun on these because one, it's fun to ask questions to people who know some good things, and two, you just get to learn so much. And I think we're in for a treat on this one. He's Kroger's wine and spirits expert. I call him the barrel pick extraordinaire for them. He's also one of the hosts of Bourbon and Beyond's Fork and Flask, which is coming up in September as part of Bourbon and Beyond. Let's welcome in Chris Blandford.
What's going on, my man? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I got to say, I love the show. I recently heard about you, so I went through and did a little bit of a deep dive and had to listen to some episodes. So very, very good. I love your insight and everything like that. So I'm really excited to be on, man.
Well, I appreciate it, man, and excited to have you. And before we dive into the Bourbon and Beyond stuff, because that's kind of what we're here to talk about. Like I said, you're Kroger's wine and spirits expert. What does your day job look like for those that may not understand what a wine and spirits expert for Kroger, which
Absolutely.
is a small, just a small
It's
company.
a really, really small company, man. I'll tell you what, it's a. I like to broadcast on my Instagrams and stuff like that, but that's not what I normally do. A lot of my job spends a lot of the time looking at Excel files, picking out items to sell in our stores, all the way to making sure our stores are merchandised correctly, trained correctly, a little bit of everything, trying to just make sure that we're selling the right product to the right customer. So, as much as I love to show off all the fun stuff I do, my day job is a lot of looking at a computer or just walking stores, man.
Because how many stores do you kind of have in your purview?
I have in my division, which is a little division of Kroger, I have 114 grocery stores and then 64 individual liquor stores. And that,
so just
the liquor stores are in Kentucky. Yeah, just like 1, 2, 60, something like that.
So, well, and then, like I said, with that job, I think, comes great responsibility, and sometimes you get picked to do fun things, and you got involved with Bourbon and Beyond, I believe a few years ago, correct? So how did all that come to be?
So it's funny. My friend, which some of your listeners may know, Fred Minnick, big guy in the whiskey world, big guy in the bourbon world. We've been friends for years. I have a lot to thank for getting my start, but we've known each other for a little bit. He was really up and coming then at that time. I passed him in a store, and he mentioned this like really neat festival, and he was like, "Hey, you guys should really get involved." And I said, "All right, well let me see how it is." And I went down and I got Kroger involved for the very first one, which was when it was still down on the waterfront, right down on the waterfront. Very first one that I got Kroger involved with was the one that rained out. So the only time Kroger has given me anything to be able to go sponsor something, I lost the money. Just like that, just lost it. I was like, well, looks like that's going to be the last time that we do that because they're not going to trust me to bring that back, right? The next year comes back and they're like, "Hey, we're moving the festival grounds. Let's see if Kroger comes back." And I'm like, I don't think I can ask them for any more money. I lost the only money that they ever gave me. And so I went back and asked, and Kroger really loved what this entailed and how many people that it touched and all the different types of people that it touched. Mm-hmm. So we said, we'll try one more shot. And it was so successful at the Highland Festival grounds. It's just absolutely amazing working with so many great and grand people and showing off not only what Kentucky has to offer, but what Kroger has to offer, that you can find everything that you can find there, you can find inside Kroger. So it kind of just was a perfect marriage for us.
Well, and since then, things that have built up, and for those that don't know kind of what your part of the festival is, or even maybe what the festival is, which shame on them if they don't, because it's one of the coolest ones there is, and the lineup this year for just the music alone is pretty amazing, and so is the food and beverage side. So, for those that might need a little background on everything that goes on there, what can you give?
Sure. So, Bourbon and Beyond is music, bourbon, culinary. So we do a little bit of everything. And so, kind of like from when gates open until 6, you have great, amazing bands playing all the different stages out there. But then we also have a lot of interesting panels going on, from culinary to cooking demonstrations with like Amanda Freitag, Chris Santos, Chef Ed Lee, to all the way to bourbon demonstrations where you have like Preston Van Winkle, Freddie No, the biggest of the big people. Fred Minnick will be there again too. And then this year I've added a lot of fun people with the likes of Jim Gaffigan, Terry Bradshaw, and Elizabeth Banks, by the way. It's wild, isn't it?
I mean, when you start reading down that list, I mean, what was it like to kind of help pull some of this together? Because, like you said, it's been going on for a little while, the food side and the beverage side. Yeah. But I feel like this year, its lineup for those that know that world almost is as equal to the amazing lineup on the music side.
Man, I'll tell you, I hate to say this on your show because I don't want them to ever say no again, but every time I ask one of these guys, from my friends like Melissa Rift over at Old Forester, Ian Slakowski over at Brown Foreman, I would ask these guys and they just instantly say yes. And I kind of want to like write back and be like, but why? Why did you say yes that you want to do this? And they get to come out and really show off their brands and themselves and their own personalities up on stage, because you really get to learn something from everything from those cooking demos to all the types of cocktail classes that we're going to give to the incredible stories that you have from hundreds of years of bourbon in Kentucky. So it's unreal, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like I said, you really get everything there at Bourbon and Beyond. And like I said, Fork and Flask is kind of your baby. You're one of the four co-hosts of it. So when people are going to that side of the event, what can they expect? Like you said, there's demonstrations, there's conversation, there's a lot going on.
We have everything from this year. I put together a chef's talk panel where we're going to have like Amanda Freitag, Chris Santos, Chef Ed Lee, kind of all coming up there talking about what happens behind the kitchen, what happens on sets and things like that, all the way to sipping some whiskey with Neil Giraldo and from Pat Benatar. He kind of wrote all of her music, and he'll be up there performing. So we're going to be sipping his 3 Chords bourbon and learning a little bit about his brand, to going through with spending a little bit of time with Terry Bradshaw and hearing what he's got and why he got back into bourbon and his whole story, to Elizabeth Banks and talking about her new canned wine venture, which I can't wait. And then that's just on the bourbon side. We have so much going on, from like Salt Hank coming up on the culinary side. We have Anthony Lamas, his first time it's going to be on, Chef Anthony Lamas, first time he'll be on the culinary panel, to a bunch of, I think we got 49 Winchester that's going to be up there. So it's going to be so much fun, man.
Well, and you talk about, you kind of do what we're doing right here as well, and some of those occasions involve, like you said, whether that's demonstrating some culinary skills from some of the artists that are performing, and then also sharing some pours with them as well.
Yeah.
How cool is it to do that and kind of just hear their story and also see that they love kind of what we love too?
I'll tell you, it's unbelievable. I want to say the very first celebrity that I ever got to say yes to do this was Ian Somerhalder and Paul Wesley. They were the first big ones to ever just tell me yes. And again, I go back to this thing of like, don't ask, but I wanted to know, why did you say yes? Because they didn't know me at this time or anything like that, but they said yes to give it a chance. And, you get these guys out there and, before I would sit on the stage or anything like that, you got 20, 30, 50, 100 people, something like that. And then you walk out and you got these two just absolute rock stars who come out, who a lot of people thought, another celebrity brand just signing off on. But then you get to talk to them and their knowledge goes so deep, so incredibly deep. They're not just signing a bottle. They're out there working it. They know what they're talking about. They know the mash bills. They know the maturation. They know how everything happened to get that juice into that bottle. So when you learn that and you're like, they're not, not everybody out there is just signing a bottle to sell. A lot of people are just in it, just like you and me, that are just enthusiasts, and they want to do this avenue. And I would say just that was my first eye-opening of just like, wow, man, like these guys are awesome, all the way to Derek Trucks last year. If you want to talk whiskey with a true whiskey nerd, Derek Trucks can talk old whiskey, man, like back in the 60s, 70s, 50s, talk about old bottles. And it's so neat to talk to these guys about stuff like that.
Well, and I was going to say, I mean, for being able to do all this, and like you said, talk to some really cool people, what's a favorite memory of yours, maybe beyond the ones you kind of mentioned that or a story that's kind of stuck with you from the past few years?
You know what? I'd probably have to say one of the coolest stories, which just may sound weird to a lot of people or whatever, but I'd say one of the coolest things that ever happened was, I guess it was the third year, fourth year, I got the opportunity to have Wayne Newton on stage. I got to meet him, talk to him. We got to do a whole entire with Carrie Van Winkle from Pappy Co. We got to do cigars and whiskey. So drinking Pappy Van Winkle, drinking whiskey, and just meeting somebody of this legendary status. This guy who spent his whole career in Las Vegas. That everyone knows Wayne Newton. Like, it doesn't matter what walk of life you are, you know who Wayne Newton is. So just getting to meet him and talk to him was really, really neat. Hearing what the stories that he had. And then you got to look at, like, he was so incredible. He was one of the nicest men I've ever met. He went out there, and just the love the fans had for him and that he was giving back. I don't know, you can't write it. Just that feeling of he was just so excited that all of these people came out to watch him smoke cigars and drink whiskey with me. So it was so weird, man. But I don't know, just getting to meet somebody of this I don't know, godlike status is really neat. I've also got to meet like Bruno Mars. I didn't get to work with him as much, but I got to meet him, and that was pretty neat.
I was gonna say, I mean, that's pretty cool. And the year Wayne Newton was there, my wife was at the festival. I was at Bourbon Fest that year, and
yeah, that was the same year that this.
I was like, well, this doesn't work. But she was there, and I'll never forget talking about Wayne Newton. She goes, I've never seen you wouldn't think someone of that stature. Every person he met, he thanked, he said hi to everything. You know, it didn't matter who you were. He was thankful to be there and thanked you for what you were doing.
It was wild. Like, he got up on stage, and everybody's giving him this amazing welcome, and you could just see that he was really touched. And after somebody who's playing in Vegas their whole entire career, to still be touched by a little group of, Kentucky people out there just drinking whiskey that just want to hear him tell a couple stories. I just think it's just something neat. And I think that's what this festival does. It just brings a really special feeling, no matter who you are, what you do, what type of music you're into, what you drink. There is something there for every single person, from kids to adults. It's just a festival. It's one of a kind. And I know I'm biased, but I think it's the best festival in America by far.
Well, I mean, it truly does have something for everyone. And you've kind of talked about this, whether it's through your stories and so forth. But what's it like to see those artists really get involved on this stage, whether it's the Bourbon or Food? Because like you said, they really do get into it. They're just like us. They're regular folks when the lights go off, and they like food. They like bourbon. They like those things. And It's cool to see them share it.
Man, I'll tell you, it's so neat to be back in the back getting ready with these guys, getting their panel ready and things like that. Because, some of these guys get even a little bit nervous because this is outside their wheelhouse, too. They're getting up and they're going to talk whiskey with a bunch of whiskey experts, or they're going to get up and do a culinary demo with a classically trained chef like Amanda Freitag. So it's out of their wheelhouse. So you get to experience them in this very normal setting, just like us, just like me and you every day. And I think that that's really, truly unique of being able to see, especially from the audience point of view, them go up and learn how to cook and maybe mess a couple things up, like I do all of the time up there. Or, going up and hearing their stories about what whiskey has done with them, or that story of why whiskey was so important to them and why they even agreed to do this. This is a real testament to Danny Wimmer and that whole team with DWP Productions about getting these artists who really, really care to get up there and spend a little bit of time with their fans and just get to see this real side of them for a few minutes. I just think it's something really special that everybody should be able to see.
And you mentioned Wayne Newton was someone that you were like, how in the world am I working with him? You got to see Bruno Mars, kind of backstage. Is there anyone else that you've kind of just been like, how am I next to you right now? Is there anyone that's been starstruck around?
I will tell you. So if you want to get crazy, I would say it would be last year when Jim Gaffigan said yes. Jim Gaffigan, he's in my wheelhouse. I'm 42 years old. He's been really popular my whole entire time since I was a teenager. So when Jim said yes, I'll tell you, man, the prepping that I did. So I prep for everything. Like for every panel, I really do a lot of research. But I was like, I'm gonna have Jim Gaffigan. Like this is our audience. It's bourbon drinkers. It's comedy lovers. Like this is it. And so when I first met him, and whenever you meet a celebrity, you're like, oh, like I hope that he's as nice or as great as you've always seen or up on stage. And Jim was overly welcome. Like he was just so welcoming. Came up, shook everyone's hand around him. I met him the night before leading into the festival, and just after kind of meeting him at the stature, and he kind of makes you feel more comfortable. I was still a little nervous about like dropping jokes because like I'm up there with a comedian. I was like, I wrote myself some little jokes to say, and I'm like, gosh, this is probably going to come out so stupid. Because I'm next to Jim Gaffigan. Like what do you do with that? But I would have to say I was a little starstruck with him. And then on the culinary side, if she listens to this or not, it would be Amanda Freitag. The very first time I met her, I was such a huge fan of her from watching her, all of her cooking shows and being on Chopped and things like that. She was just a culinary giant to me. And get this, I kid you not, when I had to go introduce her up on stage the very first time, I got so nervous. I said her last name wrong, and it has killed me for years.
but you've never said it wrong since, I bet.
I haven't, man. We've actually become very good friends over the years since then. And I saw her in New York for lunch a couple weeks ago, and I told her that story. The same thing. I said I was so nervous because I was like, I messed your name up. I was like, oh my gosh. This is also after I asked her how to pronounce her last name correctly because I was so nervous to say it up on stage. And I messed it up, but she is such a sweetheart. She did not care even in the slightest. So
I was going to say, when she was on the show, we were trying the cocktails.
Freitag cocktails, man. Yeah, I got some back here in the back.
And it was so funny because, like you, I have a way with words, and it doesn't always go well. And I ask people beforehand, and that was one I was like, "Oh man, that's just a weird. I'm going to screw that up." And what's even better is the people she works with. The reason they found us was because I had screwed up another word, which was Añejo. I said Anjejo down in and I was in a Spanish speaking country at that time.
That's a hard J. That's what you gave, man.
But I shared that out. Shared our vulnerability, and they loved it, and we were able to have her on. But yeah, man, words are hard sometimes. Words. Yeah,
I think I went out there and I said, Chef Amanda Freitag. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then, I immediately knew what I did. As soon as I turned around, I was like, she kept telling me fry, like the French fry, Freitag. And I said Freitag. And I beat myself up so much. I was like, well, probably won't work here again. Called the biggest chef in the world by the wrong name. Great.
But you've become friends, and she might remind you, but she'll never hold it against you.
Yeah. I guarantee she'll remind me. She'll absolutely remind me. There's no doubt about that.
Now, as part of all the Fork and Flask stuff, though, is you do get to do some other cool things kind of beforehand. And that's not just talking to these folks. It's going out and doing some barrel picks. I think I just saw on your Instagram, you did the Jack Daniel's pick for the festival again.
Yes.
So, what else can folks expect on that realm as well?
Yeah, so we have, and that's actually what I'm drinking last year's Bourbon Beyond pick, Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Rye. And actually, I'll give you a little tidbit. This year's Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Rye that I picked for Bourbon Beyond might be my favorite that I have ever picked from them in the 10 years I've done business. So, brother, are you coming to Bourbon Beyond this year?
I am not. I am on vacation.
Oh, my
sadly.
man. Well, dude, if you're around at any time, you've got to get with me as soon as these bottles come out. I got to get you one because
we will stay in touch because I was very sad. A trip got booked and then the dates came out and I was like, oh no.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. Well, dude, absolutely stay in touch with me to come down here and hang out. But I would say yes. So I have the Chris's Pick mini bar. So it's actually set right catty corner next to the stage. And what I do is I work with distilleries, a lot of our sponsors here, and distilleries, and pick up special single barrels that I purely like and that are going to be sold not only at the Chris's Pick mini bar that you can actually go through and try by the pour, but you can actually pick them up at select Kroger stores here in Kentucky. So if you really, really did enjoy that Jack Daniel's single barrel or one of the Starlight single barrel, something like that we picked, you can walk right over for, as long as supplies last and pick one of those bottles up right after the festival. So it's really, really neat that you can go through and try all of these incredible single barrels.
Because I was going to say, I mean, there's food and beverages there too that people might not expect at a festival as well in that area.
Yes, there is a little bit of everything there, man. So the Chris's Pick mini bar, we just strictly do bourbon. We might have a couple little surprises that we're working on this year. So if you're around, please make sure you step over and check it out. But they have everything from the Kroger Big Bourbon Bar, which just has every single sponsor of whiskey that's over there. Usually it's like 30 plus different whiskeys that are on there, all the way from a couple of like the special pop-ups that we have, the activations, from the Willet activations that we've seen before to the Jim Beam activation, Maker's Mark activations that are like second to none out there. And then clearly Jack Daniels, it's Jack Daniels. Whenever Jack shows up, it's going to be cool, man.
Just a little bit, a little bit.
That's right.
and like we've talked through so much, but at the end of the day, what's your favorite part of the event and kind of just what you get to do there?
I would say my favorite part of the event is the camaraderie from just everybody, from all of the artists to all of the fans that are out there. These fans are insane, man. I mean, last year was probably the hottest I ever remember in years past. It was crazy, and man, did those fans show up every single day, especially the night for like Zach Bryan, which was the same night that we had Jim Gaffigan that night. It was the largest crowd of people I've ever talked to before, and it was I mean, you talk about like spirits were on high as soon as I was off stage. It's something truly, truly unique. It's special. It's laid back. That's why you can bring your kids. You can bring everybody to this festival. You can hang out, chill, enjoy incredible food. Like you said, you've been there before. You know that the amount of incredible food that is served there, this isn't just like a bunch of like junky food trucks that have showed up. These are over the top. Like, everything is delicious there. Go over, spend some money, try some of this amazing food, from local stuff to national stuff. I mean, you just can't miss it. It's some of the again, I know I said it before. I think it's the best festival in America, my man.
And if someone somehow after all of this is still on the fence of why they should go, why should they go?
I mean, they should go just to see me. That's the way I would look at it, right? I look at it as this way. Depending on how that you read the poster, I'm one of the openers if you read it backwards. I'm the headliner, and, Fish, and I like to think that I'm opening up for Noah Kahan or the Lumineers, is the way that I like to tell that story. I know that that's completely incorrect, and that a lot of anybody listening to this would argue that. But to me and all my friends, I'm opening up for the Lumineers that weekend.
Well, and I was going to say, you're on a couple posters. That's all I'm going to say is your name is on posters.
Right? It's right next to Pat Benatar. You can't beat that.
And man, like you said, Chris, it is a festival I think everyone should go check out, whether it's all 4 days, the weekend, one day, whichever you can get to. I highly recommend it. bourbonandbeyond.com. And Chris, thanks for sharing some stories to drink and so much more with me, man.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me, and definitely go out, check bourbonandbeyond.com. Kroger Chris Picks on Instagram is where I am, and anybody can find me, as well as the Kroger Company, who's the sponsor of that great stage that you're going to see here in September 11th through the 14th right here in Louisville, brother.